Hello and welcome back to Shifting Tones, the podcast with nerdy tones and shifting formats. I am your week's host, Steph, and I'm joined by my two lovely co-hosts, Sam.
Yeehaw!
Oh, and Lorissa.
Hello.
Hello. We're back. New episode dropping now.
Whoa.
Whoa. Good minds think alike, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
They sure do.
How's it going, y'all? Since we're gonna do the country theme, I guess, Sam. How are y'all?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh.
I'm good. We had a very busy weekend. I'll let Lorissa talk about her, individual stuff that she did. But of course, holiday weekend with the family, Thanksgiving, fantastic food, good times, good vibes, good family. We did a little bit of Black Friday shopping, not like in the morning,
Whoa.
but after one of Lorissa's shows, we did do some shopping. We got some stuff for our niece, so very excited about that. Other than that, I've just been working, playing video games, doing the whole thing. I don't think I had anything like crazy happen to me this weekend that I'm like, wow, here's a story to tell you. I did not sleep well the last 3 or 4 days, but I mean that's
is that just a you thing, an environment thing,
I think
a stress thing?
I think it was literally 3 or 4 different environment things over the course of 3 or 4 days. So one day was allergies, one day I ate something bad before bed, I think. The other day one day I couldn't get comfortable, so different things.
Okay.
But that's not why the people are here, Steph.
Oh, why are the people here? Sam.
For the Controversial Corner 2024.
Of course.
Number 1, Jimmy Fallon has fooled everyone.
How so?
People think he's funny. People think he's relevant. People think he's important. I don't have any malice toward Jimmy Fallon. I know this sounds like I do, but he's in everything. He was in the Macy's Day Parade.
Yeah, that
doing
was
his lip singing with the Roots. Roots is they're a band. They're legit. Jimmy Fallon, who cares? I don't care if he lip syncs or stuff. He's okay. He's so not important that he had the Rizzler and the Costco guys on his show. Come on. Get somebody more important on there. You're not important, Jimmy Fallon.
Well, talking about Jimmy Fallon and faux pas, my favorite part of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which we always watch every year, was when they did the broadcast and the morning hosts that usually do the Today Show do the host for the Thanksgiving Day Parade, and they were up on the little platform behind the main Macy's store, and they were talking to a lovely little guest, I don't know, participant, I don't know how to call them.
Somebody in the crowd. Yeah,
someone in the crowd. Thank you. An attendant, thank you. And she was younger, and they were like, hey, would you like to say hi to Jimmy Fallon and ask him a question? And they panned to Jimmy Fallon, and oh boy, that was an experience, wasn't that?
Oh yeah, he was clearly hungover, drunk. He had sunglasses on. He couldn't hear what they were saying. He was just dancing around. So.
Oh my.
Yeah, when she finally asked him the question, Jimmy Fallon was like, "I can't hear you," and the way he was acting around all the other parade people that he was around was just clearly he might have been on something else other than being drunk. Let's be real. It was a little weird.
But he has everyone else fooled, but not me.
Nope.
All right. Number 2, this is something that's probably been in the controversial corner before, but I just think about it every time it happens. College football is so silly. And I know it's controversial for everybody that's not this podcast.
Sure.
But so many people get so into college football for a team that, 1, you probably didn't go to that school, or 2, for a bunch of college kids that rotate every 4 years. They're not staying there. They're kids essentially. And it's you're getting so hyped up for this team. You buy the merch, you buy tickets for the games, you go to all the games, you watch all the games, and then you get really angry and upset when your team doesn't win. There's a lot of rivalries this weekend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a few different rivalries where one of the teams won at the other team's home field and tried to plant a flag in the middle of the field and then started a fight.
No.
I'm like, come on, this is so ridiculous. Who cares if your team lost? Because it's not your team. It's your team if you go to that school. Other than that, watch a professional sport. Come on.
All right. I mean, I guess that's fair. I mean,
some would argue that it is a professional sport.
Oh, that's right. They are getting
controversial.
Paid now.
New controversial corner.
They are getting paid, which they should have been the whole time.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're going to school. They're not playing for your entertainment. They're playing for their future and their careers. Get over yourself.
Maybe.
Number 3, last one on my controversial corner is that Balatro is going to be the game of the year.
That is controversial because, oh boy, howdy, he was at my shows this weekend helping out, that man could not put it down. And so I looked over, I'm like, why is this game so fascinating to him? And then the graphics reminded me of legitimately like 2000s desktop poker. Like, nothing fancy, like green background to represent the, what's that called? The green felts that's on the pool board. It's no.
Do you know what Balatro is, Steph?
No, I've never even heard of it.
See, so Larissa's going into this whole, here's what he did this weekend. Steph doesn't even know what the game is. Probably most listeners don't.
He's
so
been playing
Balatro
it.
is
Sorry,
a...
I'm going to cut you in real quick, Sam.
Oh my God, again?
Just real quick, you know?
This is Larissa's controversial corner.
Yes, it is, because he's been playing it nonstop, and it's crazy because, like I said, it looks like it's a game from the early 2000s. And
Coming from a girl who's playing her dating sims 24/7.
Those graphics are ultra 4K, all right? And there's like 3D model simulators.
Anyways, Steph, can I please try to explain my game?
It's top tier, okay?
Real quick.
So the game is Balatro. It's a poker style game, but there's a lot more like mechanics to it, and it's a lot of like, oh, you better have this and this power up and these different things. It's very silly. You can have it on Steam or you can have it on your phone, but it is actually up for Game of the Year, which is against like AAA games. But also something I don't think should be up for Game of the Year is DLC and expansions.
No.
So like Shadow of the Erd Tree, which is an Elden Ring expansion, is up for Game of the Year, and also Final Fantasy VII, which is a remake. I don't think that should be up for Game of the Year either. But that's just me. You know, I know it's a hot take as well, but now that Larissa's controversial corner's over, Larissa, do you want to tell us about your weekend?
Oh, yes. I didn't realize you were the host today, Sam, but I will take this opportunity. Yeah. So as I was saying, Sam was rudely playing his Balatro game while he was assisting, and you can't see this because we don't have webcams yet, in air quotes, assisting. He would not stop playing that game on his phone. Not that it would matter. The show I had on Black Friday was a bit of a disappointment, but that's okay.
That's not on Lorissa or or like the actual artist people that were there. That's on the person who put together the show last minute, no advertisement.
Absolutely. And it's really upsetting because a show's only as good as its advertisement, and I will stand by that. That is my real controversial corner, is if you don't put the effort into promoting it, then why even bother? Otherwise, it's a scam.
Yeah.
There you go. You heard it here first, folks.
But yeah, no, my show on Saturday for Small Business Saturday was much better. It was a lovely time to hang out. We were helping our buddy. He also hosts events and things at times, and so it was really nice to be a part of that. And it was busy, and I was excited to be a part of it. But other than that, you guys are most concerned about my interior design updates. I know you guys were.
Whoa.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's happening now?
So I think where we left off on the last time we recorded, I decided that I wanted to paint my office again.
Oh, God.
And so, of course, this was like a Tuesday and Wednesday before Thanksgiving. What could go wrong, in the evening?
Yeah.
So I did this all by myself, no assistance. And I picked a nice, I wouldn't say emerald green. It's a nice green, but not like primary green. I'm trying to think of a good word to describe it. Think forest green.
Yeah, it's very forest green.
Yeah. So I'm super excited because now my office feels a little bit more dark academia.
Okay.
And yeah, because I have my curio cabinets and things, my plants, and I'm happy about that. So yeah, that was my big interior design update. And my second update, because Sam made fun of me for this. Yes, I am still playing Love in Deep Space. That is my boyfriend dating game. And there was a big, huge event card that came out yesterday. And so I've been saving up my diamonds, which sounds ridiculous. It's the in-game currency. And I've been battling and like literally grinding for this silly gacha game, essentially. It's just basically gambling.
Yeah.
And so I was excited. They event people were like, hey, we're going to give you 20 free tickets to see if you can get this event card, which event cards, when you unlock them, you unlock this story with a specific main character. And so you get like this date, essentially. And Of course, I spent the 20 free tickets right away. And then there was an event associated with it as well, where you could play this in-game stuff where you can get additional free tickets. So I spent all of those additional free tickets too. And then all of my diamonds. And did I get the event card?
I'm guessing no.
No, I did not. So I'm so sad.
Oh.
Because
time to start over fresh.
Well, I mean, I guess I could potentially start a new account, but I've been playing legitimately every day since I've downloaded it now.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to lose that streak. So yeah, maybe the event still goes on for another week or so. So maybe, fingers crossed, I can get more diamonds in time to at least gamble my shot for free. I have not put a single cent into this game yet. And hopefully I can get the event card because it's a spicy one and we're all excited about it.
We're all excited about it.
Yes, all us love and deep space girlies. This has been, we've been waiting for this for probably like 3 months now, no joke. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my update. Shows went fine, I guess, and love and deep space.
Nice. All right, I guess it's the host's turn this week to update.
Yeah, usually the hosts go last, I think, for the most part.
So I guess it's either first or last, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're either first or you're last.
Yeah.
Or you're fast.
Yeah. Last time we talked that I was going to 3 Thanksgivings back to back. It was awesome. The food was so yummy. Had a good time with family.
That is awesome.
A lot of traveling, but it was fine. It was fun. Enjoyed myself there. The other thing too is that when we got back, my husband and we did something new this year for Christmas.
Ooh, what'd you do?
So he has never had a live Christmas tree.
You guys got a real tree?
We got a real tree. But this is something that we did the first time for both of us. I've always gotten a tree like off of a lot. It's already pre-cut, whatever. But I actually went to a local tree farm and we got to cut our own tree.
Get out of here. That so
was pretty
cool.
fun.
I've never done that before. I've never had a live tree either. So your husband and I are in the same boat. So yeah, wow, that's really cool.
So we decorated it yesterday. Like it had to sit so it could like soak up some water and kind of, get settled in place. But we finally did all the decor and stuff. So it just looks really good. I've always had like live trees growing up. So I've spent the last like 7-8 years with fake ones. So now I'm like, oh, it's nice to be back to a real one.
Can you like smell it and everything?
Oh,
like,
yeah. Oh yeah. It's so nice.
I think it's the opposite for us. I grew up with real trees for probably like 5 or 6 years straight. It could have been more. I don't remember. I was a kid. But Lorissa and I, when we got a tree together, we got a fake one because we're like, we have cats and just don't want to deal with it because they're going to be more rambunctious with a real tree than a fake tree.
Yeah, and just to put it out there, you're like, pine, that doesn't seem like it'd be too crazy. Like, why would the cats try and eat that? Literally, our cats, we have some garland, because we also decorated for Christmas this weekend, by the way. I just forgot to mention that. But, like, literally, the second we brought out our fake garland to put around our TV, like, stand and on our mantle in our dining room, immediately,
the cats were there.
They ate it.
Oh, wow.
They were eating the pines. I'm like, guys, this is plastic. Please stop.
my cats are good. They don't go after anything. They get curious. Lucky. They'll watch us, but there's like just no interaction. So I was kind of worried with a real tree because I'm like, it's different from the fake one that they've been used to for years. But they were super chill. They have not tried to even climb it or look at it, or it's been pretty good. They kind of just sit under it and they're like, whatever.
I love that for them. They're just
I'm
like,
very, very
apathetic.
thankful I've got really good cats.
Yeah.
Are you saying our cats are bad?
Oh, huh? What? No one said that. You said that.
We got bad cats?
You said that. You said that.
One more thing. Are you done with your small talk? I'm sorry.
Super close, but you do yours and I'll do mine last.
No, you finish your small talk.
No, go ahead. I insist.
I was just going to say, because of how much we were watching Fast and Furious, I forgot to mention this in my small talk. Every year I have to give the Thanksgiving Day prayer that we do at right before the meal. And I made sure I typed a really good prayer this year.
You sure did.
And it was Fast and the Furious themed. And it just kept getting more progressively like Fast and the Furious. So it started out very like subtle, very like, we're going around the curves of life and, blah, blah, blah. You got to,
Did anyone
going
catch
to the race
it?
About halfway through when I couldn't stop laughing. Yeah, I think people started catching it.
That's crazy.
It was a hit, I would say.
Oh, okay.
It was.
My last update is that I have an exciting announcement.
Ooh.
Kind of.
Okay.
Well, it's a thing that I'm super excited that I'm sure the future listeners will hear, and you guys will hear too in a future episode in about 2-ish months or so.
Ooh,
give or take. Give or take. But I just recently bought tickets to an anime convention.
What? That's super
for
fun.
a weekend.
So did we.
Whoa.
That's crazy. It's almost
that's
like
crazy coinkadink.
Yeah, we coordinated that almost.
So without further ado, that's our theme. Boom. Segue done. We're talking about cosplay because how can you attend an anime convention without cosplaying?
It's very true. I mean, you could, but then you'd be a lame person, and no one wants to be that.
Yeah. So I guess we're gonna just open it up because I've kind of brought up different topics like with fandoms and fan culture. So I kind of wanted to spend this week's episode talking about like the fan culture behind cosplay.
Okay.
So that's what we're gonna kind of expand upon, discuss, and just go from there. So we've talked about anime cons in a previous episode. I don't remember. Did we say how many anime conventions we've all been to before?
I think we discussed.
I think we did like a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
So I guess here's the follow-up question to that is, out of all the anime conventions that you've attended, or fan events, that type of thing,
sure,
have you cosplayed? And if so, if you don't mind sharing some characters or the shows or comics or whatever you cosplayed from, I'd like to hear it.
I'll let Sam go first.
Yeah, so technically only I don't even know if you want quote unquote call it cosplay. The first con we ever went to was one I had won tickets on the radio for, right?
Which one? Oh, yes, absolutely.
I think it was like Fan Expo.
Yeah, that's a national one, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And me and Lorissa were like, oh, let's do something, but something simple, something easy. So I dressed up as, what's his name? Tombo?
Yeah, Tombo!
From Kiki's Delivery Service. He kind of looks like Waldo,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, with the glasses and the hat.
Yep. Yeah, because I already
have
had blonde hair and glasses, so I just get the striped shirt. I already had blue jeans and boots, like super simple, super easy, made it fun. Because I think it's really crazy when people go all out, and I know we'll get into that more stuff. But for me personally, like if I can just like do it for clothes I already own or something simple, I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's all I've done. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's right. Other than wearing like nerdy t-shirts to try and feel like you're part of the crowd as well. I think that's all you've done.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously when he went as Tombo, I went as Kiki, and that was a lot of fun. I think that was one of my most recent cosplays I've done. And like you said, we both wanted to keep it a little simple. So I wore a cute little blue dress, and I had my red bow on, and I went without a wig, which I know is controversial in the cosplay scene, but I just used my natural hair, which looked like Kiki's at the time. Yeah, I even carried around a little basket with, I think I put my fake strawberries that I have in my decor in my kitchen. So I was walking around with that, and I was worried no one was going to get it. I was thinking like maybe they're going to think I'm like going as like some cottage girl girly, because sometimes you see like alternative fashion people wear that at cons as well.
Yes.
But no, someone else immediately clocked in. I was like, yes, thank goodness. That makes me so excited. But yes, no, I've done cosplays for a very long time. And I think my first one was Pikachu. All of our friends decided to go as like animomorphic Pikachu, like humanized versions of the Pokemon. And so yeah, I went as Pikachu. Someone went as Togepi. And then I forgot what the other friend went as, but next year we loved it so much that I went as Mudkip. And that was a lot of fun. And then I think I'm trying to remember what else I've cosplayed. I know I cosplayed Haruhi from Orin High School Host Club. That was a lot of fun.
I remember you telling me that one a long time ago that you did that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I made my own crest for the school and everything. I went to the thrift store to buy like a suit jacket that was a similar color, and I bought like the perfect pants there as well.
Pants.
They were legitimately like, they looked like I would have bought that from a school uniform from Orin High School Host Club. And I'm trying to think of what else, because I feel like I've done some other things.
Didn't you do one from Hatalia.
Yes, I did. The anime that we probably are ashamed to speak of. I loved that anime as well, and I went as Switzerland. That was a
Nice.
lot of fun. And I also went as Gender Brent Karu from Orange High School Host Club as well. One of the
Okay.
twins. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers up all of my cosplays. I mean, over Halloween, I just did Princess Mononoke, so that was a lot of
counts.
fun. It sure does. But that one was not, I haven't made its con debut per se. So.
Okay, but you have it.
I do.
I have a lot because I've been to a lot of anime conventions. Also, I want to say this.
Here we
I
go.
know I'm not going to list all of them. I'm just going to
Sure.
list more of the kind of the animes that they're from. But I realized I'm like, oh, I probably should have said what cosplay is just in case people are like, what is that?
What is this?
Cosplay is just like another word for like kind of costume, but you're like playing in a costume in a way. It's mostly stemmed from anime culture and like Japanese fashion, and you dress up as like cartoon characters, but it's definitely stemmed now where cosplay entails so much more, like video games, comic books, really just anything.
Absolutely.
So cosplay is very just, it's like Halloween, but all the time and whenever you want and together with other people also dressed up. So it's a little different, but it's fun.
Absolutely.
But my thing with cosplaying is that I have not cosplayed since my freshman year of college.
Oh, wow.
So it has been a long time since I cosplayed. I've always wanted to get back into it and like, attend an anime con again, because the last con that I went to was in 2014, which is crazy. So I have done a couple series here and there. The majority that I've cosplayed from is Hatalia, because that was in high school that I was really into Hatalia as well. But that one, I was doing so many different costumes and characters for all the time.
A lot of fun.
But then also we did Attack on Titan when that first season came out.
Really? Yeah. I didn't know about this.
Yeah, so I did an Attack on Titan. I was Eren Yeager, like the young version.
Oh my God.
Eren!
I know. But it was the young version.
Right, before we knew.
Yeah, before we knew. And then the first ever cosplay I ever did was from Naruto.
Wow.
I think it'd be funny to see you as the... what's the final Titan version of Eren called?
Oh my God, like the skeleton version. That'd be crazy.
Just put a bunch of like, I don't know, like you could probably get it with foam, just like a big old spider and crawl around the whole time.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's cosplays already out there of that.
Oh, absolutely.
I hope so.
But yeah, I also, because that was fun to mention where you guys have been to some more recent ones compared to me. I kind of want to get into like the culture behind cosplay. Because I like from the time, so as an example, like I'm 29, just so people know, I'm 29.
Wow, you're old.
What?
I know. The last time I went to an anime convention was when I was 18.
Wow,
that's like half your life.
Yeah, like so. But I started going at 13, so 13 to 18 was my prime time anime time and cosplay time. So, that was a big hobby for me growing up. It was a way to express myself because I was pretty shy and awkward around, school people and stuff. But like whenever I went to anime conventions, I was super outgoing and like, you pretend you're the character and it was just kind of fun,
Right.
You're pretending you're someone else and kind of, it is kind of a way of like escapism a little bit.
Absolutely.
But it's still fun. Like it's still intentional, of course, but I'm curious because with cosplay culture back then, because that was so different then to how it is now. I know you guys have been to more recent conventions, so I don't know if you have anything to add on to this, like with the culture of cosplay.
Yeah. Oh, you can go first. I have something that's very specific. So if you want to say something a bit more general, go for it.
Oh yeah. So I've only been to like 3, maybe 4 conventions, most of them for Larissa's art. But I mean, we've gone to a couple just for fun. And I would say a lot of like time and efforts going into it. And I think because anime is more popular and movies with superheroes and different things and everybody that would cosplay those characters, they're more fun, these are the people that have like disposable income now, and they're just spending it on fun things, so they're able to put a little bit more into their costumes, and it's not just like the nerdy quiet kids anymore. There's like, hey, I'm very comfortable being in cosplay, so I'm gonna go all out. Like, maybe they're not, like you said, you were shy before, but when you're at the convention, you're much more outgoing. So I think for a lot of these people, like, hey, this is a big event for them every year, even if they only go to one, so they're gonna put their all into it. So I mean, we saw some really cool Transformers, some really crazy Genshin Impact ones when that was popular, and just some cool superhero and anime ones that I'm like, wow, you took a lot of time and effort, and it looks really good.
And see, it's interesting because I'm more in the part where I was going to anime conventions and cosplaying before anime and stuff even hit mainstream. Like, there was no streaming services when I was doing it.
Right.
So it was a lot of like, not, like maybe the thing, like you said, with the disposable income and having crazy costumes. Like, yes, there were crazy costumes back when I was going and different cosplays, but there was a lot of just homemade. They were, just okay. But you had the general idea of like, hey, this is who this character they are, or I said that weird.
No, I totally mean what you mean.
But my words just got all jumbled around. But it was like you could look at someone's cosplay, and even if it wasn't like the best or most skilled crafted, like you could tell who they were. And
right.
And it was more about like just showing up like, yes, I'm this character, than I think putting all this time and money and materials into a costume. I think also now, correct me if I'm wrong, but cosplay's become a lot more mainstream as well, especially with the rise of social media.
Oh, yeah.
That there's a lot more resources for crafting costumes.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like wigs, it was so hard when I was cosplaying to even, I had to look at wigs on eBay. Now you can just get a wig off Amazon that's just like, okay, boom, there it is, and it looks good. I had to like browse for hours until I found one that maybe would be okay, that was cheap enough but wasn't too cheap. So it was always super sketchy because you're just getting off eBay and you have no idea what you're gonna get. But now I feel like, maybe costumes are a little bit nicer because there's more materials available. Lorissa, you've been to both, like in the past and recent, so I'm interested to hear what you have to say about cosplay.
Absolutely.
Then and now.
Yeah, so I think the big difference now is, like you said, in the past, like we're talking 2009 to 2014 era, that's when we both were like in our prime days of like teenagehood and girlhood, walking around the convention halls. A lot of people were doing handcrafted cosplays, and then not that to say that there weren't people who would buy store-bought things. It was just that because anime wasn't so mainstream, those websites, you had to go through like third-party services to buy something from Japan, and you weren't sure they were going to come within time before the convention happened, because
you had to order them like months ahead.
Yeah, exactly. It could take like 3 months and you might not get it in time, and so you just like have this cosplay that may or may not look good, because a lot of the times when it came over, it was just cheaply made, mass-produced stuff that they were selling on the streets of Japan for like a casual fan out there, not for someone who's going to be spending like $50 in import duties to wear at a convention. So I feel like there was always a stigma about wearing store-bought cosplays back then, specifically because they were so low quality, and people really prided themselves on crafting their cosplays or going to the thrift store and buying items to modify. I mean, that's what I did, is I went to thrift stores and modified it. And what you really would focus your money on for like buying online would be, like you said, the wigs and things. And so now I notice that it's almost the opposite, where yes, the costumes are really good, but I think that's because there's more websites where you can buy more high quality ready-made costumes. And so I think that's what a lot of the people that we saw that had like really cool like Genshin Impact costumes is they bought one from a website and then they modified and tweaked it and maybe added like an embellished jewel crown that they made. But the rest of the costume was bought. I see a lot less people hand sewing or hot gluing things or anything like that, which is kind of sad to see, because the beauty of cosplay, I feel like at least in American audiences, was to see the craftsmanship of all these things. And now that everyone's walking around with store-bought costumes, it's just like, I feel like it's almost like a cheat code into a community that for us older people in the past, we had to spend a lot of effort and time to craft something out of nothing.
Yes.
And so, not that there's anything wrong with that, because at the end of the day, we're all going to a convention to have fun. It just feels like there's less care for people's costumes when you're walking around the con hall now. Like, people aren't worried about bumping into each other as much. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, because I know when I went to anime conventions, I took pictures of anyone that was wearing a costume. It didn't matter what the cosplay looked like. I would take pictures, or ask, you always ask for a photo first.
Absolutely.
But it's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're this character. Can I take a photo of you? Because I was just so excited to see someone who was sharing that same interest. I know, right? But like, I would always take a picture of like the ones that I'm like, oh, you like this character that I like, and you're cosplaying it. I want to remember this, because it's like, and then you talk about it.
Yeah.
Is that like common nowadays? Is like still taking pictures of costumes, or just like, I guess, is it, because it was like everyone's
absolutely
taking pictures of everyone back then.
I saw at the few I've been to, and like I said, so my convention, as far as experience goes compared to your guys, is all completely recent. Like, you guys have definitely gone to it in the past and saw it when, anime wasn't as popular. There were people taking pictures with people, but it was like far and few in between. I mean, from at least where we were, sitting and seeing, and I'd walk around and stuff, but it wasn't as common as what I thought it would be when you've talked about it.
Yeah.
It's definitely changed. And I think,
okay,
sorry to interrupt real quick.
No,
I
you're
think
good.
that's because, one, a lot of people are wearing the same exact costume now because everyone's going to the same website. So you're not going to take a picture of the same, what's the main Demon Slayer character?
Like Tanjiro?
Yeah, you're not going to take a picture with that person over and over again, especially since, like I said, they didn't handcraft that. But you do see people take pictures of people who were like putting a time and effort to become like the Mushroom Queen, or just like their own OC, or anything that's like someone's put an extra oomph to it. Does that make sense?
Like, kind of just made it their own more so.
Yeah. And I also want to say the biggest difference between old cons and new cons is that before, in the past, cosplay was more of a hobby, and now cosplay has definitely made its way into a profession. So you see a lot of tables now of professional cosplayers. And so,
really?
Yes, which was very different back then. You did not do that.
Oh, wow.
So now, yes, you go up to their booths. There's like a Q&A line for them sometimes, or like a photo line. And that's where you see people taking pictures and stuff, or like interacting with people playing cosplay, or these professional people who come out and they get paid to be there.
That surprised me when I was there. I was like, oh, people are like paying these people to be here, because like the convention pays these people to attend, and then there's also people coming up and paying them to sign stuff and like get a picture with them, which is great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's the same equivalency as like a streamer, or a YouTuber. Essentially, you're just doing cosplay, and it's probably the same amount of time and effort, as long as you're, like you said, not buying stuff online. But back to that real quick, when I was talking about all those fun costumes earlier, I didn't think about that. I was like, man, these costumes are really high quality. They put a lot of effort into it. But my thought wasn't, oh, they probably bought this online, but Larissa's thinking they probably did, which she knows more about it than I do, so that could make sense.
It's interesting because, obviously cosplay is, I mean, it's not just an anime convention thing. I know we've just been talking about anime convention, but like, people cosplay during Halloween all the time. Yep. I mean, even one Halloween I was Naruto.
Fun.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like also with like social media, like cosplay on YouTube is a lot, and TikTok. People, I mean, hell, people even cosplay like their favorite YouTubers, like you said, or people cosplay like actors,
They do.
So it is quite interesting to see. But yeah, you guys said you're going to a convention. I think we're all going to the same convention, right? Whoa,
That's crazy.
Spoiler. But I guess for this convention, are you guys planning on cosplaying?
I think Larissa wants to.
I do.
And as long as she wants to, I'll go along and, figure something out that either matches her, or I'll do my own thing. I have an idea for what I think would be fun for us to do. but Larissa doesn't like Dragon Ball Z, so
That's my one rule, is I have to at least know of the franchise or have watched something of it in order to cosplay it. And like, technically I've seen an episode here or there of Dragon Ball, but like, it's just not my cup of tea.
That's fair. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I have only ever like cross-dressed for cosplay, so that's just pretty much meaning like I've only ever cosplayed as boy characters.
That's fun.
So I want to cosplay a girl for once.
Oh yeah, now that you're like an adult, you feel like confident in your body and everything.
Well, not even, I mean, I guess, but like not even that. Like I just like more guy characters in terms of anime, so I'm always like, well, this boy is my favorite character.
Right.
Of course I'm going to cosplay my favorite character.
Absolutely.
So it wasn't really a matter of like the body issue or even like cross-dressing. That was never an issue. I just, in my head, I'm just like, I'm this character, you know? Yeah,
it wasn't like ever an expression of like your gender, like your own personal one to like experiment with. Like that was definitely a thing where like I called it gender bending.
Yeah.
Back in my day. And then you're like, oh, maybe I should look into this. But like whenever you saw people walking around the convention halls and they're wearing like a costume of a different gender, you wouldn't think, oh, that person's trying to experiment with their gender.
No.
Like, it was just like, oh, they like that character.
It's a weirdly like normalized thing in that community. I always called it just crossplay.
Yeah, no, I've heard that term as well. It's just, I think that's probably just
it's probably not said anymore.
Crossplay is when I can play against people on Xbox and PlayStation while playing on PC.
That's true. But yeah, I'm debating on a couple different shows for me personally, but I do kind of want to try to do a female character this time because I've just not ever done that before.
Do you have an idea of who you'd like to cosplay as?
I'm debating to do either like a Mob Psycho character or One Piece because we've been watching One Piece recently.
I'm trying to think of what girl from Mob Psycho you cosplay as.
Right?
I mean, I can only think of one. What?
Yeah.
Who?
The alien girl, Tomei.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one I could think of too. And then
maybe or doing some One Piece girls, but I'm not quite sure yet. I'm still, a couple months away to think about it, but I gotta think of it soon.
You do. You gotta start prepping.
I know.
You don't want to experience that crunch, that con crunch. Yeah,
that's true. I'm a little nervous just because I haven't been to an anime convention in so long, and like same with like cosplaying. I'm like, oh my god, how different is it gonna feel like going? Sure. The other thing I wanted to say too was with Lorissa, you would probably know this a little more than Sam, but whenever you attended cons multiple days, for the weekend typically, did you do different cosplays for different days or did you stick with one costume? I mean, Sam, you can even talk if for the limited ones you've been to, did you guys do different cosplays or just the one?
I never did. I just did that one because that was a one-day event we did when we went to that fan expo. But just from experience of being there and overhearing people talking, like especially like people that are coming up to the table, you would see people and you would recognize them just because maybe they stand out a little bit. And you're like, oh, that person was in that costume yesterday. Now they're in something different. So it was very popular to see. I've never done it, but I know a lot of people do.
Yeah, so even back in the day, I would definitely plan to wear different costumes on different days. And I think I would only do like 2 days, like maybe a Saturday and a Sunday. So like Sunday might have been like more alternative fashion, not necessarily a cosplay, but something that was like still like not normal everyday wear. I remember the one time I wore a kigurumi, which is just a giant onesie, but everyone called them kigurumis back then.
Yeah.
And yeah, I always tried to make sure that I planned different outfits, or I would repeat a cosplay from the year before because I already had that made.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, same thing. It felt normal to just constantly have different costumes per different days of the convention because it was just more fun.
Absolutely.
Which it's kind of crazy thinking about it, how many like different costumes you're putting together for just a convention and stuff. But yeah, people kind of go ham with it. Did you guys ever attend a cosplay masquerade?
A what?
Do you even know what that is, Sam?
Huh?
Yeah, they don't call them masquerades as much anymore.
What?
I know. Isn't that kind of wild?
What is it called?
They're just calling them different things, honestly. I couldn't even tell you what they were. And
like
also
cosplay competition, like
yeah,
what?
and a lot of the times too, I think because the only one I know of that still calls it a masquerade and still has like the big whole show where you come up on a stage and like you present your outfit to an audience, was one of the older traditional ones. A lot of the like national brand
Comic-Con does
conventions,
that though, I think, right?
yeah. No,
Okay.
I don't know actually. I don't know anymore. They don't do it. Like they just have this little photo op area where you can take a picture of yourself in your
Oh.
cosplay or you're with your friends and stuff. Like there's no longer that competition scene as much anymore. Like I said, because a lot of the people who are coming out to see cosplays are coming out to see their favorite cosplayer that's a professional.
Interesting.
So
yeah, because that was something that was it was so funny. My first ever anime convention. Did I ever tell this story on the podcast? I don't know if I did or not.
I don't know.
Okay,
Don't think so.
I've participated in a cosplay masquerade. So for those of you like what, like still a little confused,
Right,
it
exactly.
pretty much is like there's a big stage. People sit in the audience. It could last from like 2 to 3 hours in length, depending on how many people sign up. So before the convention even starts, you sign up and saying like, "Hey, I want to do the masquerade. I want to participate because I have an awesome costume." And I want to present it to the audience. And then there's a panel of judges that will judge the costume based on like the details, the intricacy, the hand craftsmanship. Like it has to be all handmade and hand sewn. It cannot be like store bought or anything like that. You have people and like you walk, like the cosplayers walk on stage. They do little poses. Maybe it's like in tune with music and things like that. And there's an announcer that will say like your name, where you're from, maybe if you include that, and then the character you're cosplaying as and what show or series or video game it's from. And then, yeah, you get judged and then you walk off the stage. So my first ever anime convention, I signed up. I was 13 years old and my little sister was 11.
That's hilarious.
So
how'd it go?
It was, you know what? I need to download it and I might do this after the podcast because there is a video clip of this masquerade from 2008, I believe the year was, or 2007, one of those years, of little 13-year-old me and my sister cosplaying from the Akatsuki of Naruto. And we walk up, they announce our names, our characters, we walk up on stage, we do little poses. People cheer and clap, and then you walk off stage. Like it's pretty fun. So I was just curious because that was such a huge thing. I remember being in the audience watching, you know, people come up and display their costumes that they spent God knows how many hours sewing, crafting, molding foam, you know, creating these crazy costumes, and then you display them and stuff. And it was always a really cool, like kind of community event as well, because you're and that was like just, I don't know, that was something very special. So I didn't know. Yeah.
What are those judged on exactly?
There's different categories. I don't know because I never paid attention much to the judging aspect of it, but it's something along the lines of like the craftsmanship, I think, of the costume, probably like the accuracy to the character as well. You could probably look it up.
Right.
Yeah. It also changed for each different like con you went to.
Yes. So, it's very con specific. So each con had a different like category for it as well. There's also another thing that goes like hand in hand with the cosplay masquerades where I don't know the exact terminology because I think it was different for different conventions.
I know what you're talking about.
But it's like the skits and the acting and the performances of cosplayers.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. And these weren't like people who like set up panels or anything. Like these were legit like people who they may have also been part of the masquerade where they walked up on stage, but this was a fan brewed thing where they would go at home, write up their own little scripts, bring their own props, come up on stage and like do a little funny gag, and then whoever had the most interaction with the audience usually also won a cute little prize at the end of it too. So
so I know there because I used to watch it on YouTube a lot because I was a nerd. Where you watch like there's a lot of famous ones out there where, for example, you might have a whole group of Naruto characters, and these people who are cosplaying the characters put on a whole dance and they come up with the dance choreography. They have different music.
Yep.
They do that with Dragon Ball. I've seen that before. Bleach. I mean, so many different series. And that might be like dances they put together to honor the characters in show. But people also have done skits I've seen before. I know some people have done singing. Like they might sing the opening of the show, or if in the show their person who they're cosplaying sings, they might sing that or something in front of everyone. Like it's just a whole bunch of, it's almost like a talent show for cosplayers.
It honestly is. And it was a really fun time. And the most famous one that I can think of, I believe, was a Death Note one where they used the SpongeBob audio track in the background.
Yeah.
And they made a reference about like Elle loves chocolate. And so that was the whole joke about it.
So there's a lot of cultural moments with them. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of people would reference like different skits that people that were famous that were then uploaded onto YouTube. Like people would joke about it within the halls as well. So be like, oh yeah, we all know about this like big culturally relevant to us at the time cosplay skit that was
but
at X-Con.
I just remember those performances were the most watched part of the convention because it was like the biggest thing going on. So I was just curious if cosplayers are still participating in those like talent show type things.
I don't know, because the last like traditional more anime convention we went to, we didn't end up going on Saturday, which is the big day where you see those masquerade type things. We went on Sunday, so we didn't necessarily get an opportunity to see if that's still a thing. But like I said, in more of those like big commercial national conventions, that's just not a thing anymore, which is really sad to see.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that there isn't still that sort of thing going on in more of your home brewed convention style things.
That's fair. All right.
Yeah, cosplay.
So I don't have much more other things to say in terms of cosplay, unless you guys had any last additional things that you would like to add about cosplay in general.
Yes, I did have one thing. So
yes, Lorissa, go ahead.
I remember that I watched this one YouTuber who was into alternative J fashion, and she did go to a convention. And I remember her experience about being judged for one of her cosplays. And it was interesting because, like you said before, it was usually in a big screen, not a big screen, a big stage. And there would have been like an audience of like 500. And so when they were video recording it, it was literally like a little side stage in the back corner, and like they were being judged, and like anyone who happened to be walking by was the audience, which I thought was really sad. I was like, oh. So I feel like maybe there's more small scale versions of that going on. Maybe not all these conventions are doing the big traditional stage show anymore. So,
interesting.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know, maybe it'll still be a thing when we go to a con soon, but I don't know.
We'll have to see.
It's definitely different now. Like I said, a lot of things that were more store-bought. People are a lot more willing to cosplay than I think they were in the past. Not to say that, like, not everyone did it before. It's just a lot more accepted. Like, you don't just see your nerds anymore. There's people who are like in their 20s and like this was their fun weekend to get out and do stuff. Fair. It's a lot less of those like stinky nerdy hall things as much anymore. It's definitely
just
like,
more mainstream and stuff.
Exactly. And that's why you see like the same Tanjiro cosplay around the corner, because everyone likes the big popular shonen at the time.
Sam, any last thoughts for cosplay in general?
A lot of people want to be stepped on. That's what I've seen.
Oh, that's been going on
that's
for
been a thing
years.
forever.
Lots of people pay money to be stepped on.
Yeah.
So
that hasn't changed.
No, and I think we talked about that in the past too.
Yeah. In con culture, I think we were talking about, but yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's just interesting. There's just more regular people walking about than there were before. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it for this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for indulging in our little discussion about cosplay.
Yes.
I think that was really fun. And I am very excited to put together our own cosplays. We'll have to kind of see and talk and figure out what we're all going to do then. I'm excited.
I am curious on how many people are going to cosplay as Shifting Tones in the future.
Whoa. Speaking of shifting tones, you guys can follow us on any place you get your podcasts, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube.
Whoa.
So you can follow us there and listen to our lovely episodes, or you can follow us on our social media at Shifting Tones Pod. You can also follow us individually, me at Spiffy Steffi, Lorissa at Larissa.Schaefer, and Sam at Sir Captain Sam. You'll have to also keep tuned in the future, because I'm sure once that con happens, we'll probably post pictures of our cosplays, So that'd be kind of fun to see later on. Oh yeah. Without further ado, we will see you next week for a new episode with a new host.
What?
Whoa! We're going to do a different nerdy tone in that episode. All right. Have a good night. Bye!
Bye!